Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn and the rest of the Blerdsassins Next Door here in the OTHERhood. Welcome to our September 7th, 2024 iteration of the show, where we'll be discussing those comedians who went from stand up to screen stars and those who did not successfully make the jump. So, before we get started, let's do as we always do and talk a little bit about the weather. Sonia, you're top right to me. So, how's the weather?
I'm recovering from Hotlanta, where it was 90 plus degrees in concrete hell.
Wow.
Now it's about, double checking here. It's been raining on and off here in Rochester, and I think the weather is like 80 something. Or what? Nope, it's down to 60 already. Woo! Today was a cold day.
Nice.
Supposed to get down to 47 tonight.
Whoa! Wow! I guess it's September.
Yeah.
Wow!
So,
wow!
Hence, I will be all sniffly for the next few days, and I can't blame it on Concord.
Okay, wait a minute. When did it start warming up there?
Late May, maybe June.
June, July, August, and you're back down to, and you're in the.
Well, it was 80. Yeah, it was colder than this when I flew in on Tuesday night. So I guess it's getting a little bit better. But yeah, the nights are getting much colder because it's been raining on and off all week. So lots of cloud cover means doesn't hold much heat. Doesn't get much heat from the sun during the day.
Wow. So, Nikki, how is your weather?
It's cloudy here. It's
Really?
we had with highs were in the 90s today. Now we're down to 83 and it's cloudy. It feels good though.
Must be nice. All
It
right.
is.
And well, Cranston, how's your weather?
It has been raining most of the week. I mean, like thunderstorms, things where you have to, where you're prompted to pull over to the side of the road.
Really?
Any further? Yeah, like that. But it gets so hot till, half an hour later, you can't tell it. So we've been in the upper 80s most of the week. So it hasn't been too oppressive, but it's been really wet.
Wow. So, you say like thunderstorms,
Yeah.
no hurricanes, no tornadoes, just
no
heavy
hurricanes,
rain.
no tornadoes, no threats of either. Not even a lot of high winds, but really wet, which has been good for everything that needs water. But we had a lot of
Treacherous on the roads.
Yeah, we had a lot of flooding though.
Okay. All right. Well, Otto, you're the last one. How's the weather?
Well, you know what? It was 85, sunny and boring.
Yeah, it was lovely. Lovely.
I know, right? Just no rain.
I mean,
I'm cool.
Yeah. It rained a few days ago, though.
That's right, it did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Sure
And it
did.
was nice just to walk out of the room and not be sweltering. Like from a room
I know.
that has air to the hallway where there's no air and be like, oh my gosh, this is normal.
Yeah, I was like,
First day.
what?
The first day of
I was
normalcy.
like, what the hell is this falling out of the sky? Oh, the rain. Okay.
Yeah, we're not used to it. So yeah, it's been hopefully everybody's moving to good weather. And I can't believe Sonia's gonna get 47 tonight. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't. You know what though? 47 degrees. It is September, and going into Halloween.
Yes.
So, it's tricky up there in upstate New York. It's near Canada, but she deserves that. She really does deserve that. So I'm happy.
And it did snow last Halloween, so.
All right, we'll see what happens.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy.
Yeah, that's good news.
I'll shoot some down to you, Otto.
All right.
Do that. See what it becomes when it gets down here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's up just being a bottle of water. So thank you. Jar of water. So with that out of the way, we can move into the next segment of our show, which is from stand up to screen stars. And we started thinking about this a while back, especially, we think in terms of Michael Keaton, doing a reprise of his role as Beetlejuice. And the fact that Michael Keaton started out as a stand-up comedian. and then went on to do comedic roles, and now very serious roles. So I mean, he went and doing them well, such that he is actually headlining, not just being a second. I mean, the what do you call it? The not the second banana. In my mind, I think it's second banana.
Comic
Who
relief.
is yes, it's comic relief or the supporting role that he is actually the headliner in the lead role. So we thought about how many people actually have done that. We thought not very many. When you start thinking about it, there's more than just a few. And of course, the first one we think of is Michael Keaton because of that role. He started out as the stand-up comedian, then going to, roles like Night Shift, Mr. Mom, moving on to, of course, Beetlejuice. Then, as he did such a great job in Beetlejuice, Tim Burton, gave him a promotion to lead Batman, where he could actually be seen half of the time. And since then, of course, what is it? Birdman, and he's done. What was what we saw most recently, Otto?
Well, it's a movie on Max called I forgot what was it called.
Yeah,
Uh,
not
That was called.
yes, that's
It's
it.
about
Knox.
dementia. Elvis.
Yeah, that was so good.
Knox goes away.
Knox
Goes away.
That was really good. That was really, really good. And I mean, it just shows the progression, the evolution of him as an actor. But we always used to say, we started thinking about the fact that there were many actors who started out as comedians who just happened to have just such great dramatic timing. And, one of those individuals also is Eddie Murphy. Started out stand up, then sketch comedy, then films, then taking on more serious roles. In fact, I guess with his role in Dreamgirls was one that I believe got him a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. And again, he continues. That Dolomite, even though it got no critical acclaim, I thought that film was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. So he continues, I guess, to be on both sides of comedy and drama. But again, he is a person who did this move successfully. And there are many people, of course, who don't make that move as successfully, and some who are kind of middle of the road, who maybe make it into comedy, but not necessarily into drama.
And
So I mean,
I think Penelope, the thing is that a lot of people from other generations may not know. When we say comedy, we mean standing up on the stage with a mic, doing stand up, not necessarily being like in a comedy movie. Like I don't know who's in comedy movies now. I don't know. Like Kevin Hart. Well, Kevin Hart
he's also a stand-up comedian, isn't he?
He does stand up too. But,
yeah.
But we mean stand up, not just comedy movies.
Yes, people actually do stand up, and Kevin Hart actually did stand up. And I think maybe that's something that the industry is finding, that these individuals who do stand up can translate, but there are many who could not. For instance, an individual like Richard Pryor.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, and Dice Clay, people who were good stand up. Richard Pryor was a terrible actor. He could do sketch comedy, but he could not maintain an entire film. Not to say he didn't do it. He did it many times, just very badly. He never became a very good actor that we looked at and said, well, he's very convincing and compelling in this role. And I would even say you could see how well Eddie Murphy did his transition when you think about the fact that the role that he and Martin Lawrence both being in the film Life, they were both, quite good in those roles. Even Martin Lawrence doing the action, film, doing, what's that, Bad Boys. Will Smith is one of those people, like, I think didn't do stand up. He just does, comedic movies and then the action movies. And I think he got, I think did he win the Oscar for Ali? Did he? Or he's nominated for Ali?
What about
Who, Will Smith?
Yeah, Will
and Lady
Smith.
Sings the Blues.
Yeah, for King. Was it King? The one where he played the Williams sisters' father.
He got a nomination, got an award for it.
He won the best actor for that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you in all honesty, I never watched it because, I mean, whatever the Oscars people say, I know what good acting looks like, and that ain't it.
That was the show we slapped Chris Rock in the face. So
yeah, that's right.
And then he picked up his award next time.
Yeah, instead of them trotting him off to the pokey where he belonged for putting his hands on another human being, because anybody else it would have been assault. So, that ain't it. So I think.
But what about Richard Pryor and Lady Sings the Blues?
I mean, again, but we were talking about headlining and being the main character, not a supporting actor. So I think in a supporting role, many people are good in supporting roles. They just can't carry a film. And I think he can't actually, I mean, not to say he didn't do it many times, somebody let him do it, but it just was not done well. I don't think he had the gravitas to be able, he didn't even have the gravitas to be able to manage a comedic film. He just was not a good actor. But he was Richard Pryor.
But even in something like when he did JoJo Dancer, Life is Calling, which I guess is closest that he got to a
almost
straight
autobiographical
part.
Because it's almost autobiographical in that sense. I mean, but still, he's not a good actor.
So if you can't even be a good actor playing yourself, then that means you really have issues.
Yeah, it's just not a good dramatic actor. He's not a good comedic actor. Excellent stand-up comedian, of course. I mean, that goes without saying. And sketch comedy. Great with sketch comedy. But some people cannot.
The Richard Pryor show, people don't remember that, of course.
Yes.
You could watch it on YouTube, but it was classic. And of course, the sketch he did with Chevy Chase on Saturday Night Live.
Yes, classic. So if you look for those, Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor, a classic. And again, great actor, sketch comedy, stand-up, probably one of the best stand-up comedians that ever was. He and George Carlin, one day to the other, are like my top two, with stand-up. I mean, and I got to tell you also that Eddie Murphy is quite talented, and in his stand-up. But a lot of people, again, could go from that and make it to comedy, films, and dramatic roles. Many people cannot. One person I think also who has varying degrees of being able to success is Jim Carrey. Has done stand-up, sketch comedy, has headlined films that are comedic, and then also done, the dramatic turn. And again, varying degrees of success. So I don't know, does anybody particularly, see the films that were done by Jim Carrey, and I remember he did, what is that?
Eternal Sunshine
of the Spotless Mind, right? That that he's trying to really, go for it. And I think it may even be that it was very good. But when you have so many other roles that are done marginally or not well, you cannot watch the film with an open mind. And so I may have to watch it again to see whether or not, if I just tell myself it's not Jim Carrey, maybe it would, pay off better. But I don't think that's the case, because I don't like Bruce Willis. But I have to admit that when he was in M. Night films, he performed very well. He really, he brought it in those films. So I don't think it is, but I'm not.
What about
I'm not opposed to watching it.
What about the Truman Show and The Mask?
But the Truman Show is this. Do you think of it as drama or dramedy? Dramedy, more like comedy drama.
Well, he's not really playing it for laughs, is he?
No, but I mean, the whole concept, I guess, is a joke, right? That this person thinks that they just happen to have this charmed life, and it's only because they're giving them this charmed life and letting everybody look at it. What would he be like if he was out in the real world having to really live, a life? You know, would it be very different? Would he react differently? I think if they had shown that, maybe it would have been a drama. But I think the joke, the constant joke that somebody is, and they didn't do it like it's a scary movie or anything like that. So to my mind, it maintained a comedic air to it. I mean, does anybody else see that differently?
I
I
think
mean, and
comedy is perspective. For him, it was probably a drama, knowing that his whole life was fake.
yeah, but I mean,
But it was played for the audience of the show as a comedy. Look at this fool who doesn't even realize he's on TV.
that his whole existence has been this created life. So yeah, I mean, if they played it differently, think about if you played it as a horror movie, you know, as someone living this life and all of your life is controlled and a more nefarious way of doing the Truman Show, maybe. But or if you come there as somebody who's been told you're an amnesiac and they make you live this life because they want to have a television show and you've been to prison and then you do whatever they want to do with you, maybe. But I thought of it more as a comedy. But, I mean, I don't know. I didn't
I
think of it
think it
that
was
way. So,
to me it was more like a social commentary kind of satire, but not necessarily
satire gets the best
a
term.
belly laugh.
Satire.
Yeah, not a
No,
belly
no.
laugh.
Right. I agree. I agree. Satirical. But I think the biggest project that he did, or the one that comes to mind, is that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Is there anything else that he has done that you all see as drama? And I know you mentioned The Mask, but that again is drama, comedy, dramedy type of thing because parts of it, of course, are the tension and suspense. But again, he's a comic book-ish character running around doing book-ish things where he is impervious to being, killed or injured. And at the evening, but in the daytime, of course, it's his, you know, real life person. Which person is Stanley Ipkiss? Um, that person, of course, can be killed, injured, etc., and is also comedic, right? I don't think he's that much of he's just a little bit of a sad sack, right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't think of him. I think of it kind of still. It's kind of comedy. I don't think it's
Yeah, it's kind of
serious drama.
we were watching a Danny Kaye movie today.
Hmm.
So he's kind of Danny Kaye-ish, I mean,
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
Well, he did do a movie that was a little bit, I guess it was supposed to be, I guess, horror adjacent, called 23, about this guy who gets obsessed with the number 23 that keeps coming up and all of these things. He's trying to figure out what the secret meaning behind it is. And so
That sounds really familiar. I don't remember seeing it, but I do know what you're talking about because I do remember that. Did you actually get to see it?
I didn't get to see it because it was one of those things that they hyped it a lot and then they didn't give it any kind of support. It didn't get a wide release. You can probably find it on YouTube somewhere.
Right.
I
And
saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah. And I think
It
it was
sounds really familiar, and I don't know. Maybe did I see it with you because it sounds familiar.
yeah, I saw it. And I think that it's the film is based on someone who's having some mental issues, as Cranston said, with obsession.
Hmm.
So I think it seemed serious to me, and as well as his I think he had a show on Showtime a year ago, 2 years ago.
Hmm. And what was that?
I think he was the host of a show. It may have been a puppet show. I'm not sure if anyone saw that.
Puppet show.
series. Yeah, I forget the name of it. If you Google it, I'll sure.
I remember someone having a puppet show, but I didn't know it was Jim Carrey. I thought it was someone else.
Yeah, I didn't like the show, to be honest. But
it wasn't the one. It wasn't the one with the monster. That was something else, right? That's somebody else that did that one.
The one with the monster on it?
Yeah. But the dad creates the monster. And I can see his face, and I can't remember his name. But he makes the monster for his son, and then he.
Yeah, that's a different movie.
That's a different movie, different person. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a different movie. But he had a series on Showtime. It was kind of serious. And then, you talk about Danny Kaye, kind of Danny Kaye-ish. Danny Kaye was in that serious movie about the Nazis marching on Skokie, Illinois.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I just looked at it. It's called Kidding. The IMDb created by Jim Carrey, Frank Langella, Judy Greer.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Never saw it, but I see that it is on Showtime. And if you all are interested, you can find it there and probably some other platforms, but certainly I see it on Showtime.
I don't think Showtime exists anymore, right?
Or whatever Showtime became.
It became Paramount Plus, I believe.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yes.
It exists. You just have to pay extra to your Paramount Plus to get it.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't exist anymore. So I watch.
As far as I can tell, it does not exist. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
nobody.
It may be a separate app if they're good. Yeah. It depends on what happens with the merger.
The app is actually gone. So
no Showtime app.
Yeah, you can't access the app anymore. They took it down. So
this gives me an idea for a channel. They should have a channel that's called the Bootleg Channel, where you could get the equivalent of all those barbershop movies.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what, Cranston? Mm-hmm. We'll talk after the show.
Yeah, it's not trying to get us in trouble, man. So that we have the Jim Carrey issues too, and then the other individual who successfully made that jump, Robin Williams. Mm-hmm. This Robin Williams, of course, we knew first doing his very kind of wildish stand up, then going to shows like then he went to Mork and Mindy. Yeah, and then he did, of course, what is it? Mrs. Doubtfire is his film. Because everybody at that point, at some point during that period, was doing those. He and Dustin Hoffman, playing, middle-aged women or something, middle-aged women. And then went on to doing very serious films.
I mean, he went really dark, didn't he?
Yes.
Dark?
Yeah, because he did do 24-hour photo, which was a very dark film. I really liked it, though. I think it was with he and Eric LaSalle. It was a very good film. But also got his nomination for Good Morning Vietnam.
Good Will Hunting.
And yes, Good Will Hunting. So he moved successfully from comedy into, stand-up, then to sketch comedy, television shows, film, to the point of being, an Oscar contender and winner as well.
And he also did one Identity with directed by Christopher Nolan, one of his earlier ones with Al Pacino, where he was
in Alaska.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
That was dark. That was also
dark. It was dark. Yeah. And
literally dark.
Yes. There's a scene in that film, and I've seen other scenes, of that ilk before, but where the Al Pacino character is on the logs in the water and falls between those logs. And you see those scenes, before, but that's like one of the first scenes where I ever truly felt the sense of how heavy those logs are.
Those logs are dangerous.
Are logs, I mean, they smush you because these are like logs, and logs are like trees, and they're in the water, and they're just not okay. Sure, they are floating, but they can also smash you into little bits. And there's the
I
first
never
film.
thought that logs were that dangerous.
Yeah, but that's one of the first films I ever saw where that sense was conveyed so well that, oh my gosh, he can't just, oh, I'm just going to reach up here and pull myself up. No way. You're getting smashed when these logs are tumbling and moving. That really gave me such panic when I saw that scene. But I mean, it's really well directed.
It wasn't like he was going to jump up on one and discover log rolling all of a sudden and just
exactly.
Off.
Yeah, I mean, it was very frightening because he can't push these logs. He can't just, oh, I'm going to reach up, push the logs, and now I can breathe. No, he had to. The villain of the film actually had to help him get up. Otherwise, he would not have. He would have died.
Remember log rolling?
Yeah.
Remember Wide World of Sports used to have that, but they didn't have any.
Yeah.
That was a sport. Remember that?
Yeah. Log rolling and axe throwing and curling and all those things. Yeah. But I do think that Robin Williams is one of the individuals that successfully made that transition and could do it all. I mean, really could do it all.
I really could see him in those dark roles.
Yeah. I think he did a great job. I mean, he really transformed into those roles. And I got to tell you, 24-Hour Photo for me was such an incredible film, showing, this person, and he's doing this thing, and then the ending I thought was really, really, it's a really great film, and I just thought, wow, very well thought out, and I'm gonna call a twist ending kind of, but certainly, wow, I was really surprised by the ending. And if you haven't seen it, I would suggest that you do.
And the thing is, though, Penelope, with Robin Williams' stand-up, he has some of that manic energy. So it's like, if you see that he's in a movie, it could be a turn-off, and you could say, I'm not going to watch that movie.
Yeah. But
it's the same deal with Steve Martin.
Yes, that's another one. That is another individual who successfully made that transition, but to some people it was a little jarring. And I know that Otto and I had a discussion. I told him one of our favorite films from my youth, my sisters, Pennies from Heaven, and he was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" The Steve Martin film. I said, "Nope, it is not what you think. It is a great film." And it has become, of course, one of our, watched on our, on our list, good films to watch. It is a crazy kind of musical, serious depression era film, and I mean, I guess a lot of people were not expecting that from Steve Martin, the type of film that it was. But I thought it's excellent.
I didn't think he can do it, and I stayed away from it. And when you have that, we have that urge to be depressed. Sometimes you get an urge to be depressed. You watch this movie. This is a depressing movie.
Yeah, I mean, it gives no quarter at all. Just none. And the thing that is incredible about it is that they have these songs from the 20s and upbeat and love songs, and just the rack and ruin that exists underneath. Just really great. And Dancing, by Christopher Walken. Watch it just for that. Just really great.
Similar, I was going to say similar Steve Martin occurrence was when I literally had to drag my mother in to see Parenthood. because she,
Mhm.
I don't like his wild and crazy,
Yeah.
and she came out saying, "We got to see that again. We got to see that again,"
Yeah.
because it was just
A
she wasn't
different,
expecting the
It's
slice
so
of life.
different. Yeah.
right? A different experience.
Yeah. I
And
didn't like his stupid stand. I mean, I thought his
hmm
stand up. I didn't think it was particularly edgy. His old college kids really love. Well, you know what? I was kind of either entering college or whatever I was, but
yeah,
I didn't find it edgy at all. It's a white guy with an arrow through his head. I didn't think it was edgy.
Well, it
yeah.
was never like really edgy like well somebody who was edgier, but it was sort of like a thing that just veered off into the absurd, and that's what the attraction was. Like this thing he did once on a Saturday Night Live where he said, "This is how you can make $1 million and don't pay taxes. First, make $1 million, then don't pay your taxes." Then when the IRS comes and wants to know how come you didn't pay taxes on your $1 million, you just tell them, "I forgot."
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
How about the
Okay,
other one? We said,
absurdity.
remember Old Earth? We had met the Old Earth,
Yeah.
and we had to leave and go to the New Earth,
Yes.
and we all started new lives on this new Earth.
hmm
And then the government told us that the smart people would know, but we shouldn't tell the dumb people anything. Uh-oh.
Oh. Oh. You didn't tell the dumb people. Oh. Oh yeah, I thought it was cute. That was very well done. It's a timing thing, and he did it very
Mhm.
well. Very, very well. So I think, yeah, but he did make that jump into doing films, and then not just films, but films of a serious nature. Of course, he did the funny stuff like The Jerk. Um, I tried to watch Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid
Mhm.
several weeks back. Unwatchable, unwatchable. The
Isn't that
opening.
incredible?
Mm,
I thought it was unwatchable to me too, and I thought that I could watch it. I was thinking, oh boy, Penelope is being too sensitive, but it was
hmm
difficult for me to watch, and it's amazing how your sensibilities change. I mean, they really
mm.
actually change. It's interesting.
And I don't know if it's societal change, people becoming more sensitive to other people, or just not closing our eyes to what we found uncomfortable and just didn't want to say that we found it uncomfortable. But the beginning of that
I don't know what
film,
it is, but
when I
it's the
know we
opening
had that
scene
woman,
where
was it Rachel Weisz? Not
she's
Rachel Weisz, what's her
sleeping.
name? What is her name? The actress, Rachel something or other. I can't remember her last name.
But she's
But
sleeping on the
yes.
couch,
hmm
and the Steve Martin character, has her sleeping on the couch, and he looking at her breast, and then he grabs, both her breasts with his hands and start massaging them. And I saw that movie several times, and it wasn't like I thought it was funny, but it's just stupid. But now it hits me the wrong way. It just does.
Yeah, it's more than stupid. It is revolting, you know, that a woman is there and she is not conscious and he is kissing her and, fondling her breasts all without her consent or knowledge. And it is vulgar and revolting. But the thing that's incredible is that at the time, this was sold as being comedic and funny,
Mhm.
you know, that, I
And
mean,
I didn't think it. Like I said, I didn't think it was. When I first saw it, I didn't think it was funny, but I thought it
that's
was
dumb,
stupid. It wasn't
right?
like I jumped up, I got up out of my seat, and stomped out of the
The
theater or
theater, right?
anything. It's like, okay, well, he's doing that now, and
So this is dumb. It's, oh my god, how ridiculous, how dumb. But now I don't see it just as ridiculous and dumb. And maybe because I'm older, maybe because we were all taught growing up that ha ha ha, this is supposed to be funny, and we believed it. But then now, I guess because I know the law, I
Mm-hmm.
realized, I mean, it is assault. It is sexual assault, you know. And I mean, remember, I mean, you may not remember Sonia because I don't think you would be out of school or whatever to watch this or whatever when you're in school or you're in middle school or whatever. But remember General Hospital with Luke and Laura,
Oh,
and
I
when
remember.
Luke and Laura and Luke rapes Laura, and then they change the script or the storyline to the fact that, well, she really wanted it, so then they start dating or something. So it is that type of thing. I think that, that these things are justified. We grow up with them feeding that to us, that this is okay. As long as he starts dating her afterwards or whatever, the
Mm-hmm.
rape is all right. You know, that's
Yeah.
okay. And I guess it's the same type of mindset that they have in this film and Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. But again, that was another quote unquote comedy. I wonder how he feels about that now, or if he's ever talked about that. I
I think he
mean,
probably cringe. I think he
yeah,
probably cringes when he sees
hmm
it. You know,
yeah, and thinks, why
I would
didn't somebody
suspect.
stop
I
me?
was.
I said, why
Yeah,
didn't someone stop me?
well, because I
Mm-hmm.
think it was odd and it's kind of a Steve Martin thing to do, and it wasn't. It wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe he did. No, when I saw the movie, I think I saw it in college and a university theater, and
hmm
with a co-ed audience, and no one had the reaction that I had. No one did.
Or maybe they also had the same reaction, but then felt that they should not say anything, that they would be
Maybe,
pointed
maybe
out as being extreme, or pointed out as being
that could
someone
be
we
it.
can't talk around,
I
you
know.
know?
I know. I mean, I didn't feel a certain way about it, and I wasn't trying to hide my feelings or anything. I sat through the whole movie several
hmm
times.
Yeah, but it was the kind of thing that we had been primed for, because remember what the most romantic scene in Gone with the Wind is when Rhett comes in and grabs Scarlett, who has to be wearing like 90 pounds of petticoats or whatever, and says that you're going to be a wife tonight, or however that line goes, and he
hmm
runs up the stairs with her. Then we cut to the next morning where she's lying there looking all refreshed, and hair is down and the sun is shining and she's smiling, and that's a way of saying, yeah, that was okay. So
hmm Yeah, and so that concept that women don't know their own minds, and that it's okay as long as later on you say it was all right.
yeah.
I mean, really, if you think about it, that thread even runs through our own jurisprudence. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so something happens, like what is it, statutory rape, but as long as you marry
Mm-hmm.
this girl who was underage, then it's okay. This sexual contact that occurred
Mm-hmm.
prior to that individual being married to you, or coming of age.
But Steve Martin was in and out, serious movies, comedies, The Man with Two Brains,
hmm
and now he's doing murders. It was Murders Only in the building or something, or
Only Murders in the Building.
Only
Yeah.
Murder in the
Yeah,
Building. And I guess that kind of a semi comedic role.
comedy,
Yeah.
It
He,
just,
dramedy.
yeah,
yeah.
it just won the Emmy for short form or something like that. The creative Emmys are tonight, and it just
hmm
won.
hmm
So
So
Is it a comedy, or is it role a comedy role? Or?
It's
I
it's
think
more like a dramedy, and it's where the characters are a little over the top, but not over the top enough to be like buffoonish or anything like that.
mhm.
And it
Yeah,
does have little serious things that come up, with the characters, and with things that they're working through, and so it's very well done. And they only do 8 episodes per season, so it's not enough to wear out its welcome.
hmm
Is it like that Woody Allen film, where he is in a building with Diane Keaton, and there's a murder. He's trying to solve it. Is it like that?
Manhattan
Something
Murder
like
Mystery.
that.
Hmm.
Manhattan Murder Mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that.
Yeah,
I have not
something
seen
like
that
that.
before. I haven't seen. I know the show exists. I've never watched it before.
You never seen Manhattan Murder Mystery?
No, the show, the
Oh, the
Steve
show, right?
Martin and Martin
Yeah.
Short show, because I really have an aversion to Martin Short.
You
Really?
know, I have an aversion to Steve Martin still a little bit, and I'm not sure where it comes from. He does a lot of plays, and he writes for the
Hmm.
New Yorker quite a bit, and he's trying to be like a modern day. What's the guy who used to write for the New Yorker all the time? That wrote The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I forgot the guy's name.
Oh, James Thurber.
Yeah, he's trying to be a modern day Thurber. Um, I don't know. It seems like it's fake. I'm not sure it's fake or real. He's trying real hard.
Yeah.
But there's one person on this panel that I would take their recommendation because they've been right so often, and that's Cranston. So Cranston, what is your take on this Steve Martin series?
Well, if you don't like the actors, probably they're going to really grate on your nerves after a while. So you probably won't enjoy it for that reason. But it's very well written. It's very witty. The characters are not, like buffoonish or total idiots. So they do come up with ideas that are valid for the things that happen, and it doesn't stray away from reality too far. There are a couple of things that are kind of stretches that you can kind of see coming,
Mhm.
but ultimately and stuff, you just go along with it, and it's not too bad. So
Not to,
I
so that's a recommendation or not?
not too bad.
Yeah.
I just expect to see
That was-
Martin Short just break out into the Ed Grimley role.
Oh God, no!
I just can't.
Please.
I
no,
just
he doesn't.
can't.
He's actually the
I
straight.
just
He's
can't.
actually the straight man in most of this stuff.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. He already messed up because he's already Ed Grimley in my head.
But no,
Then
there's
after
no.
he did that other movie where he's like that little boy and he has that dinosaur.
Well, that's funny as
Remember?
hell.
Again. Again.
That
That's
was
in my
funny.
head. That's in my
That's
head,
funny.
man.
With Charles Grodin.
Yes. What is that called? You know that film?
Oh man.
When he's like this little bad little boy.
Oh
He's
man.
like really bad and really bad. And he wants to go to the amusement
Oh,
park.
that is funny. That's funny.
Whoa, my God. Yeah, but that's him. I can't get that out of my head. So I mean, maybe we'll try. Why don't we do that? We bury the hatchet. You put away your Steve Martin, just like I put away my Martin Short, and try to be, I guess, as objective as we can,
Mhm.
and try
I
to
can
watch
see.
it.
I can see that's going to be a really fun viewing experience, you guys.
Well, wait a minute, because your recommendation is kind of lukewarm.
Yeah.
Are you saying a yes or no? Don't equivocate.
Yeah. Because when you said Westworld and we didn't do it right away, and
Mhm.
then we saw Westworld, like, oh my God, this is so great.
I enjoyed it. So there.
Yeah. Westworld or the murder show.
Only in Murders in the Building.
Only Murders in the Building, yeah.
They're podcast hosts who go around solving cold case mysteries, and then a whole bunch of them happen in their building.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
I can't trust Sonia's recommendation because on previous occasions she directed me towards something that was really bad. I think it was like Black Lightning or something like that. And that wasn't good.
Black Lightning was already over by the time I joined in.
Yeah, but I think you recommended it, and then I watched it, and I said, never again with the recommendation. So, Cranston, are you saying yes or no?
I would say yes. I'll say yes. It's
right.
worth an investment.
All right. we'll put away our preconceived notions about these two particular actors and see whether we can
Because we hold
suffer through it.
Cranston's feet to the fire too. Because
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, but you also take James's recommendation, so there's
no,
that.
no, I
Oh
do not.
no! Oh
Absolutely
no!
not.
No one does that.
No one does.
No one
ever,
does
no.
that.
Well, see, the
That does-
difference is with
That's not a
James,
thing that happens.
with James' recommendations, you're not going to watch one of his recommendations, and after that, you say, and it's a shame that the Academy did not nominate that for Best Picture.
Right.
But there are things
No,
that are
that's not
You,
happening.
there
you
are
don't
things that
expect
are
it to be good when he not
yeah,
when he does a
but
recommendation. There's
Yeah.
no
but
recommendation that it's good.
but
I
there
have the
are
option of
things that
watching
you
it.
have to experience just so you can
Yeah.
say yes. I have a benchmark for whatever it is, like
Right.
like
Yeah, I have a
watching
mark
Pan
on
Man
on
from
my.
Outer Space, so you can say
Right.
yes, I did
I
watch
have a
it.
mark.
You know,
I have a mark. I have a mark on the side of my head because I better time spent hitting my head against the wall for an hour
mm,
than watching one of his recommendations.
That's why he's called King of the Bees.
He
Are
yeah.
you
is.
kidding me?
He's
He
horrible.
doesn't. Yeah, he has recommendations. They're not good.
Yeah, he's
Mhm.
just horrible. And he
They're not good.
he's not ashamed of his
Right. He's not
which is
ashamed of
not ashamed
referring
of it. I
you
was,
to bad films. And like we'll say, James, that wasn't good. Well, I never said it was good.
Yeah.
yeah, no, he's not ashamed. At least has some shame. But I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is funny. There is one of the channels where they do these. They talk about these old movies, and they throw little things out there. Like they would tell you there was some movie that was so slapdash until they said they had filmed it in 7 days.
Wow.
And that's the kind of thing. A 7-day shooting schedule is what you do for a 45-minute television police procedural or something like that. And you're doing a feature-length movie in that time, so that lets you kind of know. It's amazing that everything was in focus, after that. So
I gotta tell you, I mean, I get off of James. I get that out of my head. I think in terms of what other comedians do you all identify with being good stand-up, or somebody maybe was a poor stand-up comedian and ended up being a very good screen actor?
I got
Right.
two. We've been talking about a lot of men. We got some women, Whoopi Goldberg and Emma Thompson, both started out as stand-up.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
and-
Emma Thompson. I don't remember her doing, but I know Whoopi Goldberg did.
Yeah, of
definitely.
She
course.
was
Yeah.
over in London. She's part of their, I can't remember what the name of her troupe. I found 2 articles about stand-up comedians who became recognizable art actors.
Well, cool.
Um,
So yeah, I mean,
he and Hugh Laurie and I'm blanking out on the third, had their own troupe like for stand-up. Yeah, Hugh Laurie started in stand-up.
I had no idea.
yeah, in
Andrea,
fact,
Andrea Martin. Andrea Martin is another actress who was in stand-up and sketch comedy, and went on to do dramatic roles, and then did Broadway. A lot of dramatic roles on Broadway too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let's see, Monique. was a
Monique.
stand-up comedian. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Def Comedy Jam a lot. Remember
Yeah.
Def Comedy Jam?
Yeah, so you have several women, and at the end, Monique also had earned her Oscar.
For
Mhm.
Precious.
So,
For
yeah.
Precious, the movie, for some reason, certain people on this panel won't see.
What's wrong with them?
What's wrong with you? Why won't you see this movie?
Oh, you mean me? Oh, you
And I
mean
mean
me?
Sonya too. Sonya, have you seen the movie?
No,
See?
Not interested.
I'm not refusing to see it. It's just every time I go to see it, something comes up.
Oh, I'm not interested
Ain't nothing
in
coming. What you
any
talking
way,
about
shape,
coming
or
up?
form. Not
Cranston,
even
Cranston, have you seen
remotely
it?
interested.
I saw Precious in a theater. Yes.
Mhm. Wow, you paid
Okay.
money.
I saw
See-
Precious on Peacock Channel.
So I
So if
think
you got the Peacock app, Sonya, you can watch Precious. Don't give me that.
Oh, I have no interest in doing that, so that's not going to happen.
Why won't you watch it?
I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't watch because I don't want to look at them because they don't interest me.
Oh, you're not
that has.
interested in the movie?
I'm not interested in that at all. I mean,
Oh,
why would
okay.
I watch that? Why
Well,
would you watch it?
it does fall into that thing about that you always talk about the pornography of misery that
Mm-hmm.
you do, and it's the kind of thing where it's not that you have anybody to cheer for really, but it's more like a survival thing and stuff. It's like, you were in a car that flipped over 18 times and managed to crawl out through the window and stuff, and you survived. It's that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then watching people who are generally presented as being very glamorous being unglamorous. I think Mariah
Yeah.
Carey played a social worker, like with no makeup and no hair and anything like that
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So it's not the kind of thing that you leave, those movies that you leave with a soaring feeling that, you've watched something transcendent happen or something like that. So, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gabrielle Sidibe is such a good actor. And
Gabourey. Sidibe.
Gabourey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that she's such a good actor. I watch a lot of movies and television and stuff. I think I know good acting when I see it. I think she's very good. I don't think that she gets the roles and the opportunities that she deserves. She was on American Horror Story. I thought she was very good.
Yes.
yeah,
There's several other things that she's really good at.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's unfortunate she's not given the opportunity. But she's
Mm-hmm.
really good. And
But you know what? You can say that about many black actresses are not given the opportunities.
not give. But you know what? We saw Taraji P. Henson.
Yeah.
We saw her
Play-
today,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Based on movies that you saw her in, right? Shows,
Mhm. Yes.
and what you saw her in today. Would you
Yes.
put her in a class of being a good actress?
yeah.
I think she's a good actress. I think she's a good actress.
Yeah, I think there's one movie it's kind of hard to track down, but it's worth it, and it's called "Talk to Me" with Don Cheadle, Chilliway, Elijah Ford, and she's in it also. And it's one of those like based on a true story things and stuff. She was excellent in that. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that film. It's a very good film, and I think I think she's a very good actress. But again, having to get material, you know, for very good actresses, you know, things that are not stereotypical. And let's face it, when they're looking at women who are playing some of these roles, Regina King gets a lot of play. People like
Mm-hmm.
Janelle Monáe, who's a singer, has now stepped into, these roles as well. So, kind of pushing out people who were actresses and, to begin with, they're not, sometimes because you have, I guess, singers, people like that who bring their own fan base with them. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't want that when you have a film? So bringing a fan base with them. So it's hard for them to do battle, I think, sometimes with that, individuals who are of that ilk. But
One of the weirdest transitions was Howie Mandel. I mean,
yeah.
if you hated Steve Martin and you hated Robin Williams, you're 100% guaranteed to hate Howie Mandel's stand-up routine.
Mm-hmm.
But then he was a different person on St. Elsewhere.
Yeah, he did a dramatic role in St. Elsewhere. And it's very interesting when I watched St. Elsewhere originally, then watched it many years, over a decade, 2 decades later, that I see things differently. You see things in one part of your career, and then see it again in a different part of your career. Who it is that you identify with at the very beginning, of your career, and who you identify with, in the middle of your career.
That's an
And
interesting concept. A very interesting concept. I haven't thought about it, but you're right.
Well, the funny thing is, you said, okay, well, these are ones that had it that Mark Harmon was telling a story about how he had been offered a chance to be on one of those like Battle of the Network Stars type of programs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all excited about it. And he was telling it to Denzel Washington, who just shook his head and says, no, you don't want to do that. And he realized, looking back on it, and say, yeah, okay, yeah, I can see where you're kind of right about that. So there are some people that have they have a vision, and then some people have a vision that's just a little blurry or a little off. So
yeah, and some people can tell you, if this is the kind of career that you want, certain things you have to steer away from. Are you a serious actor? Do you want to be seen always as a serious actor?
okay,
if you're at those certain
now
parts.
another,
Go on. I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say there's another one that could go into this, and it would be an acquired taste. And you decide whether or not, yeah, this is something I can live with or not. And that would be Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He did go but did he ever do stand up, or did he just do sketch comedy? I never recall him doing stand up, but I'm sure
I don't
did.
know. I don't know if that's where they found him doing stand up. He mostly did sketch, but he'd been noted for doing those things like
Opera Man.
Yeah. Things that are kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm not sure about, like Billy Madison and all of those
I still can't watch a film with him in it. I have how you put it, theatrically allergic to his performances. Can't watch his stuff. What about what's the comedian's name who was in Dead Presidents and also Rush Hour?
Chris Tucker.
He was great in a lot of his, and especially in Dead Presidents.
Yes, he was quite excellent in Dead Presidents. Great in Rush Hour. But Dead Presidents, I'm going to say I cannot hear Al Green's song, I'm So Tired of Being Alone, without thinking of that scene of him at the end of Dead Presidents. It's always in my head, because the character, you become, one with that character, knowing that guy, and then, to deal with what had to happen to him. It was really good.
What about we're talking about Chris's. What about Chris Rock?
Yeah, and that's someone who did not make the transition as well. In fact, I think he can't.
He was in New Jack City.
Yeah,
he was terrible. In the previous series of Fargo.
It was not good. Just not good.
Well, it's kind of like whatever character he plays is always another version of Chris Tucker.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I think I look at Chris Tucker. I think, did he move? He went back to the mother continent.
No, he was in. He may have. He's back now. I think that the last time I saw him, he was at the 54th Street Y in New York doing a reading. I think what happened to him is that what's the guy's name? Oliver Stone started awful rumors about him
because he didn't want to do his film.
He wanted, there had rumors that he didn't know how to read and he was stupid.
Because he didn't want to do his film, or that terrible film, Friday Night Lights, whatever.
Jamie Foxx did.
There you go.
Well, that's another stand-up comedian.
Was he a stand-up comedian?
Yeah, and he did the Ray Charles story.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm one of those people who did not think that he was a very good actor. There's a lot of people that the people who hand out awards tell you are good, but you have to go with your own gut to determine whether or not someone is actually good. And and I think he's a good comedic actor. Um, he's done some things that, comedy wise, that are good. But it's just hard for me to see him in dramatic roles and take them seriously. But, you know, a lot of
Did you see Ray?
I saw bits and pieces. I mean, it didn't really hold my attention.
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he did good in Ray. So, but he also did Stealth.
You know, but you know what? A lot of people thought Al Pacino did a good job in what's that film he's playing a blind man.
Sin of a Woman.
Sin of a Woman. I mean, just in all honesty, y'all. I mean, he's playing. What is he? What is he? I just say, listen, just listen. No, just listen to me. Yeah, he's playing a guy who is blind. Mm-hmm. So is he being given an award because he is playing this role that, you know, this compelling role, or because, oh my gosh, he's playing a blind man so well? But okay, you do realize he can see, right? Mm-hmm. It's like,
well, it's one of those
not like
things
he became blind. It's no different than Tom Cruise playing Eddie Kovic in Born on the 4th of July.
Well, I think that
you know, and I think it is pandering.
I think it's one of those things that I think you talked about it on one of your previous shows. Mm-hmm. It's not so much that Jamie Foxx is getting the award. It's like we wanted to really give this award to Ray Charles, but he's not around anymore. So we're going to give it to him.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that the Ali Award, you know, for Will Smith.
Yeah. So,
but what about Baby Driver? What about Baby Driver?
Oh man, he was so bad in that. And if you ever watch Baby Driver, and I want to say, let me correct myself. It is not that he is so bad in it. It's that the energy level that he comes to the film in is so off from everyone else. So it's like you have everyone else and they're in this groove, and then he's in the film and it's some complete different energy level of everyone else. And it does not mesh with anyone else in the film. So I'm not going to say that he was bad in it. I'm saying that he was not in sync with the rest of the cast. And it was uncomfortable because he was not in sync with the rest of the cast. So again, so it's a different thing to say bad. I don't want to say bad. It's just that just not in sync, and it was uncomfortable with how far out of sync he was with everyone else in the cast. You know, you're having a conversation with someone, and your responses are not equal, proportionate to what it is that's going on around you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like the guy that the gentleman, you know him, the actor, director, producer that you know from Dexter, Sonia, that young man, that he is in Dexter, and they have this role that he's playing that's out of sync when he is interacting with the Dexter character. It's not in sync with everyone else in the show. And some weird, whoever it was that was directing, and you can't blame, I guess, these actors, but the directors. So how are you not seeing this? That they are so out of sync, you know, that it is uncomfortable. You know, that it's uncomfortable for the viewer because it feels like they're in a different show. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. I remember in the movie Dreamscape, we talk about that every now and then, how it's a bad film, B-rated horror film. But Max von Sydow, and who was the other person? Christopher Plummer. There's a scene that these two men are in the middle of Dreamscape. And it's like somebody lifted this scene up out of a completely different movie because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It is so well acted. The interaction there in sync. It is like it's from a different film. They just yanked the scene out and from another film and just sat it in the middle of this film because it's so well done. So good. But again, these guys are in sync, but they are not in sync with the rest of the film. You know, no matter how good it is, it makes the rest of the film seem even worse. So maybe if they weren't as good, the rest of the film would not have seemed so bad. But it seemed really bad in comparison with the performance of these two titans.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we're talking about people moving from comedy into drama, and I was thinking, you know, I was talking about the people like Max von Sydow, Christopher Plummer. Do we know anyone that made that movement from comedy into anything like horror? You know, and I don't think. I mean, people did drama, but I can't think of anyone who has done straight up horror, except for if you think of like 24-hour photo is kind of like on the edge of that, right? It is kind of almost. It's thriller, suspense
Shaun
thriller.
of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, but does Simon Pegg ever do stand up?
I'm not sure.
Me either. I don't know if he started out as a writer. Well, but I know, well, one thing is for certain, you know, I think Simon Pegg started out, I think, writer, right? I think he started writer. He did, what's the name of the show with the people with the apartment? And he and his friend move into the apartment together, and they acting like they're a couple. What is that? It's so good. Do you recall it, Otto? You know what I'm
The
talking
apart-
about?
The Apartment. I know the show, but I don't know the
Yeah.
name.
Yes. Very good. Well written. And I think they were trying to do an American version and cut him out. And he was like, oh, no, you're not going to cut me out of doing this show. You know, you're not going to just say, okay, we bought this, so we're just come over here and do it in the United States when he got such a bad deal, you know, but so excited to have your work out there that you know, sign a deal that's not possibly the best. And then later on, you know, they try to, you know, do their thing. The only thing he had going for him is that he had become such a celebrity by that time that they did not dare, you know, do that craziness to him. Okay, we have two Sonyas to tell the truth. Which the real Sonya? Please stand up.
I'm here. My
Yeah.
internet went hiccup.
Ah, I see.
But
And
Penelope, what do you think? What is your theory behind, you know, people being stand-up comedians, and not necessarily being like run-of-the-mill actors, but really good actors? I mean, really, they can go from dark. They can, you know, just you know, carry a film and be normal. Do you think there's something special that you have to have in you to do, in order to do stand-up, that translates to being able to act in do a quality acting job in a movie?
I don't know. I don't think stand up necessarily, because you know somebody like two people, you know, Carlin and Pryor, who were excellent stand up comedians, and both of them were terrible actors. You know, I think maybe those people who do stand up and their stand up persona is also something that is not them. If their stand up persona is created, you know, then I think that they are much easier, make a much easier transition into film, comedy, or drama. I think if people stand up, they're like a Richard Pryor who's telling his life story, who's basically just like, you know, speaking extemporaneously, or he has a set that is based on an extemporaneous um, discussion of things that happen in his life, right? Then that is him, like you say, Chris Rock, who's Chris Rock in every role he plays. But if you are someone who, like Beyonce says that when she's performing, she's not Beyonce because Beyonce is very shy. That when she's performing, she is Sasha Fierce. So these people, I presume, that have done this, like think about people like Steve Martin, whose stand up is kind of was frenetic, like you say, absurd. Um, Somebody like Robin Williams, kind of all over the place. He's already acting. They're already
And
acting.
I guess the capability of being nasty or being, Steve Martin in Pennies from Heaven
Yes,
is nasty. He's nasty. He's mean and
right.
nasty.
Yes.
Whoopi Goldberg in The Color Purple, she's various stages of
Hmm.
victimhood and
Yes.
various stages of revenge mode.
Right.
Um,
Because again, think about it. Her stand up, she was already acting. She's
yeah, but
playing
somebody
one
like Richard
character. They're
Pryor
playing
or
another character. They're playing another character.
George
Right.
Carlin. Maybe
They're
they don't
just
have.
speaking.
They're not layered. I mean, maybe there's only one layer to it.
There
Yeah.
is only think about it. There really is only one layer. They come up there, they are themselves, and they start talking. I'm certain somebody like Lenny Bruce also probably was not going to be a good actor because he's there and he's not taking on any other persona. But imagine all these other individuals who are doing their stand up and they're taking on other personas. I think maybe someone like let's say Monique, her character that she is, I don't know if it's the real her or some
She was
persona that
really
she's created.
mean. She was
Uh-huh.
mean and precious.
Hmm. And so if her persona that she does on stage is just she's channeling someone, a lot of other people do that. They are channeling someone. They are acting all the time. So I think those people that you look at and their stand-up performances are more like they're acting already, then yes, they I think they make the transition much more smoothly. You know, Jim Carrey, his stand-up was like, again, frenetic. He's acting already when he's doing this. He's not, hey, I'm Jim Carrey. Let me tell you about my life. Let me tell you about what I'm doing. I'm Chevy Chase,
Albert
and you're
Brooks
not.
and Albert Brooks and Drive.
Yes, my goodness. Albert Brooks, in all the films. What is it? Lost in America. I mean, he is great comedy. He's also the fantastic villain in Drive, and he can make the transition because I think they're always writing in their heads and they're always acting.
He's
That the
scary.
person, yeah, and the person that they are, if they do stand up, etc., is not who they really are. This is the persona that I've created in order to do this job. So I think that might be a difference. Some other people may see something else, but that's what I think. I mean, this Cranston. Do you have another point of view on it, or Sonia?
Oh, I
Well,
was going to say one that didn't work well is when Andrew Dice Clay started believing he was Andrew Dice Clay. He lost his perspective of, no, this was a character I created to do
Yeah,
stand.
and yeah, that's right. So you needed to know that you need to leave this character and move into another character. But again, he got so used to being that character, which is always, of course, the downfall of all the other persons who did the same thing.
That's all he
Mm.
That
did. I mean, he wrote for Richard Pryor.
hmm
He's one of Pryor's writers.
right,
So then he came up with this persona and very successful for him, and I think he couldn't escape it.
yeah,
well, it's also that, and in his case, it's the point of you overestimate the amount of goodwill you have from your audience. Just because you have
mm,
this weird, drunken frat boy audience who applauds everything you do doesn't mean you're really great. That just means it's just drunk people applauding you acting
mm.
outrageous, and that
Yeah, and
doesn't carry
also,
over because it
but
seems shocked that people don't like me.
well, also think about somebody like Paul Mooney, who is comedic genius, writing. He's done, of course, stand up, and with Paul Mooney, because it is kind of like a mixture of both. He has had, limited success, doing supporting type roles in television or whatever. But I don't think that he could ever completely disengage
I
from
don't
being
know
Paul.
because I don't know about that because I rarely see Mooney in any real substantive roles. Actually,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That I think that him to do that because he's Paul Mooney, and we watch him to be Paul Mooney. I don't watch Paul Mooney to be somebody other than Paul Mooney. I expected to always be Paul Mooney. I expected him to always be Paul Mooney. So I was never disappointed with Paul Mooney being Paul Mooney in anything he did. Now that may mean that he can't, stretch and play some
I would
lead
like to have seen
role.
him. I would like to see Paul Mooney be given a chance to do a dark role, but I never saw him in anything other
Hmm.
than like Hollywood Shuffle, a couple other movies.
Yes, he's been supporting roles, not something he's doing the heavy lifting for the entire film. But again, comedic genius, of Paul Mooney. But I think it's an interesting thing we see that so many people have. I mean, first I thought it was only a handful, but then you start thinking, yeah, quite a few people have made that jump, from
Go all the
their
way back
comedic
to
works.
Bob Hope. Yeah, I can go all
Hmm.
the way back to Bob Hope and all of those
And Bob,
legends of the Bob Hope, Jack Benny, and all of those.
but okay,
Where
but it was still
Jack
Jack
Benny
Benny and Bob
became
Hope. Did they ever do serious films?
wasn't the Gumdrop Kid for Bob Hope a more dramatic?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I hate Bob Hope. So I won't
No,
innocent you.
I like as a kid I liked Bob Hope, and I remember the Lemon Drop Kid, and it wasn't serious. It's kind of kind of like in the middle, kind of comedy kind of thing, and but never saw him anything like serious like
Hmm.
what's his name did in Drive or Robin Williams. Like I'm really scared of this. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Or I'm a serial killer, or or I'm an abusive husband, or
Hmm.
those kind of roles like that. You never saw. I think they were too afraid for Hope to go down that road
Yeah, maybe because he
because
had
of
a
his career.
certain
Yeah,
demographic that followed him,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I can believe it. I mean, but again, I just I did not like Bob Hope at all when
I'm
I
a
was a
big
kid.
Bob Hope fan. I mean, I
All
loved
right,
him
that's lovely. I'm
when
so
he was
happy
with
for you.
Bing Crosby, and I loved him when he was on by himself. My favorite spy, and I love Bob Hope.
Okay,
Well,
aside from the fact that he was supposed to be America's comedian and he was always Bob Hope no matter what he did, what was it that you didn't like about him?
oh, he's Bob Hope.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I could not stand the sound of his voice. I could not stand his films, and I would sit
What
there
did
as a
he do to
kid.
you?
I'm sitting there watching his films. I'm a kid, and it's like, somebody please tell me when this is supposed to be funny.
It's funny. You didn't watch any of the Bing Crosby.
Oh, those are the worst.
You hate
Those are the
those?
absolute worst. Oh no, I do
You
not
didn't like
like
the
Bing
ones. You didn't
Crosby
like
and
the one
Bob
like he
Hope.
was the clip we saw when he was a pirate and he was on the ship and
Okay, I'll just put it this way: Bob Hope and Bing Crosby are in a film, and Bob Hope is in it.
Mhm.
Okay, I hate it.
wow.
Okay.
You just don't like him. You just don't like him.
Oh no, don't like Bob Hope at all.
Mhm.
At all. I do not like Bob Hope.
Remember,
I
you
have
didn't like
never
Lauren
liked him.
Hardy. You didn't like Lauren Hardy either. So.
I don't know. I never watched Laurel and Hardy. I did not. Well, you know what? You're right. I did not like Laurel and Hardy. That there's something about him. Did not like them. And then of course,
Hmm.
I guess because I there's certain things that like little things go off in the back of your head, and you're like, I don't know about those guys. And then there they are in all their blackface. So I said, yeah, there you go, blackface. That's it. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I saw things. You're right. They were funny, tee hee, but yeah, you saw they did blackface, and that was not cool. Um, but I did like March of the Wooden Soldiers. You introduced me to that. Um, that
The
was
piano, the piano
yeah,
movement.
that was very funny. But again, I always had that kind of I don't know that feeling, and yep, like that little man for the Pepperidge Farm commercials.
What's that guy?
Farm remembers, and he's wearing that straw hat. You know, come on, when you all watched that when you were kids and
Those cakes were
young
good.
adults, you watching that thing that Pepperidge Farm remembers. Do you hate
Mhm.
those commercials? Do you hate that guy?
Well, it was
I
one of
said,
those
all
things
like,
that you
all
couldn't
like, yeah, go ahead. I'll tell you what I
relate
thought.
to, and it made you. You couldn't really relate to it, and then it made you feel marginalized because you couldn't and stuff. You don't remember those times.
Well, all I
Not
remember
really,
I
is
but
didn't
seeing all
care.
those pictures of white people at lynchings, right? Sitting there with their
hmm
picnic baskets and a black man sitting there hanging from the tree, and they're all smiling for the photo wearing their straw hats.
That never happened
So,
in a Petrified commercial.
but that is in my mind whenever I saw him.
Okay, but
it's like,
the thing is, I can relate to it because the guy has cake.
yeah,
And
it's like cut the camera 3.
I don't
Okay.
give a yeah, I can
Yeah,
get down
so,
with a dude with cake. You just
sorry,
yeah, you got
sorry,
cake.
sorry.
That's
All I could
crazy.
think, all I could see is look at him. And he could have worn anything else in the world, but they made sure at Pepperidge Farm to have him wear that little straw hat that looked just like those straw hats that people were wearing as they're sitting there smiling for the camera with a black man swinging from a tree and families of white people sitting there smiling with their picnic baskets, eating their picnic lunch while this man is swung, hung and burned. And that's what's in your cake. I just want to let you know.
It's not in my cake.
It is. That's what's in your
No,
cake.
not cake. And it's
Okay.
hanged, not hung. It's
Hanged.
hanged.
Hanging from a
Hanged.
tree.
You can hang a cake in my mouth. I'm eating it. I want it.
Yep, because it's got all that slavery and racism in it. So enjoy.
Give me cut me a slice.
Enjoy. Nope.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm not buying. So yeah, I have an issue being able to associate certain things with other things, and it's hard for me to get rid of that. So no, that's in my head. I'm not. No, keep that Pepperidge Farm cake. I'm gonna have Sarah Lee there.
Well, it says Sarah Lee wasn't at the hangings.
At least she had sense enough not to wear a straw hat. So there we go.
How do we get on this anyway?
I don't
get
know.
this.
You and
It's
Bob
about
Hope.
Hope.
You and
Yeah.
Bob Hope. But okay, so you like the Bob Hope films and him going for comedy, but did he do any drama? I mean, maybe
He did a
those
couple
films
of
he did by
movies.
himself.
He did a couple of movies with Lucille Ball.
Mhm.
And he did the Seven Little Boys, and but nothing really heavy drama. Not really heavy drama.
Anything else? Anyone else you all think of? Going back that far. I'm sure that Flip Wilson probably did stand up, and he actually had his
Yeah,
own
Flip did
variety show.
stand up.
Yeah, and he
Flip
did
did
his own
stand, but I
variety
never
show.
saw Flip. I never saw Flip in a serious movie though.
Was there one film he did, and it's just me, and I can't recall for sure, and maybe Cranston, you might remember, or if y'all watch westerns, I remember. It's like I think of him being like a western type thing, but like it's a supporting character. I can't even remember. I have to look it up, but that's the only thing that I can think of that was not a straight up comedy.
He was in Let's Do It Again, I think, as a preacher or something like that.
Yes. And yeah, but he was definitely interesting, funny. But I think also you think about him as being an individual who did like the role of Geraldine, and it's like that's
That's like a
another thing.
woman.
Yeah.
What
doing
about
that.
Godfrey Cambridge?
Yeah, because he did film. What was the film that they always did? What is it? Cotton Comes to Harlem Digger
Yeah.
Jones.
Watermelon Man.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. That was very good. So yeah, he successfully, was able to make the transition as well. Uh, and I enjoyed those things. You know, anybody anybody else with
But there's two with they could be with limited. I said, yeah, but they didn't age well. One, of course, being Roseanne Barr.
yes, I remember
Mhm.
she did her stand up.
And then she started, believing her stand up like Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Rosie O'Donnell also did stand up, but I don't think she ever really took off
Live
as an actress, although she did do
what's a
some.
baseball movie?
A
Excuse me?
League of Their Own.
League of Their
League of
Own.
Their Own.
Yeah. But she did do some acting.
And Sleepless in Seattle.
Yes. And what was the other one she did? Where she actually had a was one of the primaries in the film,
Was it
like
Ghost?
Club Paradise or something like that. Club Paradise or something that where she was the lead, I guess, in it. I think something. I can't remember the name of it, but I think yes, she was in it as the main character. And I don't know if Melissa McCarthy ever did stand up. I thought she did, but I'm not sure.
I don't think she did. I think she was always she was always an
Writer,
actor.
actress.
With acting, I don't think she ever did stand up.
Mhm.
Of course, it's Lily Tomlin.
Yes, yeah. That's one from back in the day. Absolutely. Okay. Because I remember I was thinking, yeah, that it was Rosie O'Donnell who was in Nip Tuck, correct?
I don't
The
remember.
woman, he won a lot of money, and her husband and her daughter started having an affair or something like that. Because they said she became too different after she became rich. A bunch of nasty folks. But yeah, I remember her being in Nip Tuck. That's it. I'm looking at our time, and we're kind of getting up there. It is now about uh, an hour and almost a half that we've been in it. And I want to make sure we haven't missed anyone that you all can think of that also will be included in this set of individuals who are comedians who did or comedians who didn't, make that jump. Um, and I think you're
There's,
right. Rosie O'Donnell did, but also Roseanne Barr, and then just kind of, went crazy, like you said. Just kind of, wow.
there's one comedian that made the transition and then shot himself in the foot and killed his career, and that's Bill Cosby.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he went from comedy, stand up to comedy to comedic films.
I Spy.
Um, I Spy, which was more serious television show, and then more films, later on. Then bad films, was it Leonard Part 6?
6,
Sick.
yeah.
Yeah, so and then the other one about then they tried to redo what is it, Fat Albert, and I think, wow, I don't understand what was going on with all that. But definitely he had opportunities. And, you know, television role, I think he was able to handle a lot better than trying to expand to carrying an entire film. I don't think he had that because again, he was one of those people that never was not themselves. It's like
Mhm.
here's Bill Cosby in a film, and he was just acting as himself. He never changed who he was, except when he was doing the films of Sidney Poitier, when they're doing like Let's Do It Again, Uptown Saturday Night, and he's actually playing.
That
You
was
could
kind of
see,
funny.
yeah,
Funny
and you could
show.
see that he was actually doing a role as opposed to just being Bill Cosby with the Bill Cosby voice and the Bill Cosby affectations. He was actually
Mhm.
acting. And
You know,
again, he needs a good job in those.
one actor and show makes me sad is Scooey Mitchell when they're trying to do Barefoot in the
Mm-hmm.
Park, which was a take on the Jane Fonda and Robert
Robert
Redford
Redford,
film.
yeah.
There's a black version of
Mm-hmm.
that, and I don't I don't think I watched that as a kid. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really know what was going on,
Yeah.
but they looked pretty cool to me. I don't think it was given a shot, really.
Well, I saw it again. I mean, it's about a year or two ago, and in all honesty, I didn't think it was very good. When I was a kid, it was nice to see black people on the screen. But when I saw it again a couple of years ago, I realized the acting was not very good, and it wasn't because I think the acting itself was bad. The timing was poor. So all that comedic timing that these people have doing their comedy sketches did not translate into good comedic timing when they were working in scenes with other people. So yeah, I would have thought yes that it would have been great if it had worked, but try looking at it again. And I just think that the comedic timing was way off. It just
Probably, I was gonna say, probably didn't have as much experience as improv, where you're dependent on the timing
yeah,
to
and I
sell
think
the
that's it
scene.
because it's probably going from hey this guy is really great stand up, wouldn't he be wonderful? He's a good looking man. This good looking young woman and they're newlyweds, but he was not yet seasoned enough as an actor to be able to pull it off.
So you think it was Scooey Mitchell's fault?
Yes. I don't know it's his fault. I think it's just that he was not seasoned enough. And when they decided that, hey, we really like this guy, he could do this role, that they did not say, okay, or people around him didn't say, you need to go to acting class like right now. You need to go right now to go somewhere to learn how to stand on your mark, how to cheat, left and right, like not like you do on stage, but how you have to do it with regard to that camera, and also become comfortable with the people that you are acting with. And I think that that's a lot. It's a but who's going to turn down the opportunity? But the problem with something like this is that you take that opportunity, you are bad at it, and you may never get another opportunity. So it's like six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. If I don't take it, I may never get an opportunity. If I take this opportunity and I blow it, I will probably never get another opportunity. So I don't know. But I
Yeah,
think
right.
he wasn't ready for it then.
But I think that I'm not into a lot of like representative television. I think seeing myself on television, some of it is overrated, But I think that show gave a lot of young people a kind of an idea that when you grow up, this is where what you could be, and where you could be.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I agree with that. I'm just
But
saying that he was not a
it's
good actor.
boring, but it was also boring and bad.
Yeah, he just he and um the lead actress did not
Tracy Tracy Reed.
Trisha did not have that good chemistry, and I think their lack of chemistry was probably due to the fact that he was not used to acting with someone else in a scene. You know, not at the level that he should have been to do that role. Also, on screen, television stuff. There's a whole lot of skill sets that he would have needed in order to be successful at it that at that point he didn't have in his career. And but the only problem is like when you are black people and you miss one time, you probably won't get another shot, you know, where other people, get, I mean, the Anglos will get multiple opportunities. You may never get another opportunity, but even many of them don't ever get another opportunity. So, you get one and done.
Jim Carrey had a multitude of opportunities.
Exactly. Except with someone like that got multiple opportunities. But understand this too. Who gave him his biggest opportunity? In Living Color. Right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
he didn't get it on some show that was done by, some major market. Was it, Mad
He
TV. It
was
wasn't Saturday
horrible.
Night Live.
He was
He got
horrible.
yeah.
And he was in a film called I forgot the name of it. It's a vampire film.
Yeah,
It
I
was
remember
horrible.
that.
Yeah, he should have, based on that film alone, he should have packed it up and left Hollywood.
Yeah, but I mean, again, he's funny. He's this. Let's put him in this movie. And he did not have the sense to say, no, I'm not ready. It's kind of like when Madonna started her acting career and she did Desperately Seeking Susan, which was a supporting role.
Desperately Seeking Talent. Remember that?
Yeah, but you know what? But you know what? She was smart enough to be the supporting role behind was it Roseanne Arquette. She wasn't the lead. She was just a supporting role.
But she's also
So,
very bad too.
yeah, she's bad. But the one that she's really bad in was when she took the lead role in that film with what's his name? Something Dunn. Griffin Dunn. Remember that? It was painful. Painful. Wow. Remember that?
Yep.
I can't remember the
I
name
think
of the
Griffin
film.
Dunn said he was about to quit acting.
Yeah. Yeah. That it was so incredibly bad. I don't but I blame the director for those films like that. You cannot possibly be directing this film and not realize how bad it is. How bad this person is in that role. You know, and be able to say, please stop.
Please stop.
Just please stop. You've got to do something differently. This is not working. And that was a terrible film. She was quite terrible in it. And sometimes people just don't want to tell people you need a lot more work. Simply because you can, get on the stage and dance and sing does not mean that you can act. These are very different skill sets. And, but people want to be able to turn a buck, on whatever it is that they see. So if they can find someone that's a singer, like Cher, right, or Janelle Monáe, and say, okay, now you can act and make some more money for us because you bring your fan base with you. How can they lose, right? I think it's a great opportunity for everybody involved. So I think maybe that next time we can talk about all the people who have gone from singing into acting, and who was successful and who was not so successful. That'll be fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at our clock, like I said, and it looks like it's time to wind down and wind out of here. So we thank you all very much for joining us here in the OTHERhood. If you have any ideas for any shows that you would like for us to unearth, uncover, discuss, email me, Penelope at PenelopeFlynn.com, or contact us, any of us here on Facebook, or you can contact me any other way that you can find me. And we will get back again next week, like we said. In the OTHERhood, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful remainder of your weekend. Have a very productive week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.